Hello everybody, welcome to this offline educational. It's basically how I view the long-term forecast chart. I got a request from one of our members and the request reads verbatim: I'd be keen to see an educational on long-term targets. Months ago we had a target of 10,600 on the FTSE. I'd like to learn the fib mechanics to that thinking. That's the exact message. And with that in mind, I have the UK 100, or the FTSE if you like, open on our long range forecasting chart. As you can see, we have a daily, a 4-hourly, a 1-hour chart and a 15-minute chart. Obviously the long range is mostly about the daily and the 4-hourly charts. I use the hourly and the 15-minute more on the intraday stuff when we drill down to the 2-minute and the 1-minute for our actual live trading. But I'm going to give you a glance at this. You will have seen it before, especially if you're one of my members anyway. And it's the balanced score chart. As an accountant, when we're going to value a business, it might be an ice cream van or it might be Apple computers, or it could be anything, but we use a balanced scorecard to do that, to value the business fairly in the same way. And as it states right here, it's about memory, really. Bars drawn of the past, bars to come of the future, obviously. And what we're looking at are these list of EMAs. It's about counting the cards, if you remember that lesson. So the Bollinger Bands, the status, where are we in relation to above or below the mid BB? Are they flat? Are they angled? The MACD, is it correlated or hopping, or is it buy or sell mode? Is the PSAR outside the bands? The higher value EMAs, are they in trend? The higher time frame, as in 4 hour and daily. The signals consistent on multiple time frames. The 6 and 7 here are more in tune with the intraday trades, but 7 not so much. Price action, breakouts, gulfing or inside patterns, all of those play a part. And here we are looking at the FTSE, and I'm going to focus on the daily for the moment. As I stated, the member asked me, he said months ago we had a target of 10,700. I'll need to give you the exact target because then you might understand some more. And I'm just looking it up. Here you go. It was 10,946. Why 10,946? Well, because it's a number in the Fibonacci sequence. And if we say we're in December now, he asked me in November, I think that was when the question was, but months ago, here we are, September, August, we were looking for 10,946 because it's a Fibonacci number. Now, why might it still go there? Well, we need to look for the evidence. Those of you who remember my quote bubble, I don't know if I've got access to it on here. Downloads, where's my quote bubble? Quote bubble, here it is. If I open this image, it will help you, I think. Anyway, evidence provided by price action, unsupported by evidence provided by indicators, or indeed vice versa, leaves a trader open to ambiguity where an opinion may be formed. Opinions are the enemy of a trader and a curse upon the charts. Well, that basically means we follow the indicators, not what we think. So 10,946 is a number in the fib sequence. Some of you, if you're watching this, you might remember 17,711 was a big target on the DAX and the NAS some years ago, and it went there and then it went on. 28,657 was a target on the Dow some years ago. 46,368 was the most recent target on the Dow. All Fibonacci sequence numbers, most of them achieved. I think the 28,657 is highlighted because we haven't yet seen that on the DAX or the NAS. Doesn't mean we won't. Maybe the Santa rally, we'll see. Anyway, 10,946, what supports this? Well, yes, the EMAs are stacked in buy mode. Yes, the EMAs are stacked in buy mode. Pink crossed purple. We very often see a pullback when that happens, at least to pink, sometimes to purple. Pink would have crossed purple a long time ago here. They came close. I'm looking for the cross. Where is the cross? It's still in buy mode, way back into whenever. I'm not going to go back any further than that. But the cross generates a pullback. There's a pink cross purple on the 15-minute, and the pullback gathered some momentum, didn't it? Probably, no doubt, driven by some level of news. I believe there was this morning. Anyway, if we look at the the FTSE now on the daily, we would normally start. I'm looking for divergence. I'm looking for the rejection of a line, and I'm looking for patterns. And straight away we see a shoulder, potential shoulder, a potential head, and the beginning of a potential new right shoulder. Now, if we get an inverse head and shoulders there, and then a subsequent breakout, it puts 10, 9, 4, 6 back on the table. For now, the 4-hour is range bound. We can see the bands are closed in and prices bouncing from the bottom to the top. But yes, with a little bit of a breakout, but not on major. It's really respecting the higher value pink EMA there and rebounding off of that. So the answer then would be to buy the dips, obviously, unless you took part in this massive sell-off this morning, but the 1 and the 2 minute would have given you that, no problem at all. What would we need to see to know that we were looking for the end of a right shoulder? Well, we need to see the 1 hour and the 15-minute go back into buy mode, and we'd need to see the 4-hour here go back into buy mode. Watch for the PSARs. You can set an alarm for the PSAR flip on the 4-hour, and we could also look and observe to see that the bands begin to expand on that. Similarly, you see the way the bands, a slight kink in, so they're beginning to contract. What I'd be looking for is the right shoulder to maybe come down and meet with the pink line here, and then that's where I'd be looking to see if we were going to get our rejection, and because that's moving up, this is coming down to meet it. So ideally this pink line will be above that low, because I would like to see that right shoulder above that left shoulder there, and then that would suggest to me that yes, there's potential for an inverse head and shoulders. And look, we made 10,000, so 10,946, not such a big deal, not that far away really. And you know, when little Tarquin gets his shares bought from Prince Daddy at Christmas, there begins the Santa rally. And you know, there's no shortage of money in the UK. Money goes to money, doesn't it? So the wealthy people buy shares for their children. That's what the politicians buy, and that might see the beginning of something sensible there in regards to an inverse head and shoulders and the move up to the 10, 9, 4, 6. It's not guaranteed, so you have to trade what you see. We cannot go against the signals, and the signals are the signals. It brings us right back to my what do you call to this document, the balanced score chart. Don't trade against what you already know. And of course that the quote bubble, price action and indicators must concur, and if they don't agree, someone is telling you fibs and you really don't want to know. We can then, of course, draw fibs. Look, we can see there's a run of reds to a green. If we fib that one on the daily time frame there, we go red, 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 green. And we're looking for a breach of the 61.8. Sorry, I seem to be getting a second one already there. I'll clobber him. So first one, top of the first red to the bottom of the first retracement bar. And we've tested the 61.8. We need to breach that. So it's at 9,761. We need that breach, and ideally hold on, and not break the 38.2 there, because that means continuation sell. Doesn't mean it's going to go. We've also got a run of greens to a red there, so we'll move him up to that red and him down to that green, if I may. I need to move you first, all right? Okay. Down we go to the first in the run of greens, and I might just make this one chart bigger to make it easier to see. And check that my lines are right. So yeah, if we can hold on to the 38.2, or this newer daily fib, see some signs of bullishness from it. If we only come back to the 61.8 and not go below, so 9,622 there, I'd accept a 9,6. It's close enough. And then a rebreach of 96.74, and then a run on to what is the fib target? 10.9. Well, I run out. It doesn't go up that high, but obviously there'll be new fibs along the way. It's not going to do 10.946 in a single day by any means now. But if we do get that run up, buying the dips makes sense. I'll go back to the original layout, put him back, and then I might just run through, I'll go onto the Dow, just to prove that you can see the Dow at 48,000. That was a target we were looking for. It's just some days ago, actually. I think on Tuesday's session, we were looking for 48,000 as our upper target, and there we are at that this morning. What was the one there? 46,368. We were seeking a long time ago from 40,000. In fact, so if I scroll back when we were at 40,000, it's around April, May. Once we held 40,000, 46,368 was my target on that. And hopefully that gives you an insight then of where my targeting comes from and how I develop it. Obviously, there's a big round number up there, 50,000, and if 48,000 holds, I'd look to it to hold on a weekly chart. So if the week Friday closes above 48,000, I start looking for 50,000. Otherwise, I'll be looking for some level of faff and a pullback before I run up to 50,000. We can do the same on the NAS. And the NAS, I was looking for 28,657. I'm still looking for 28,657, and I will buy the dips until it goes there, because it's the next fib level up. If we look, we're at 26, nearly at 26,400, with 25,600 now. There's that telltale. The bands look like they want to expand. You see there, the 4 hour, the bands begin to expand. We do have a PSAR outside on the daily, and it's solidly rejected a very big round number at 24,000, and that potentially gives us access in the Christmas rally this year to the 28,657. It is literally like 3,000 pips away, and as you can see from the NAS, 24,000 at the bottom, 26,500 at the top. That's within a month, so it's not such an outlandish ask. It's not such an outlandish target to be seeking. Well, that's my target anyway, and that's what I'll do. That's how I trade. I use the higher value EMAs. I use the Bollingers, the PSAR, and the higher time frames. Divergence, of course, spluttered into the mix, and whether or not we're in buy hopper mode or sell hopper mode, red or green, or all of those things play a contributing factor. But I do keep an eye on the levels, and I do keep a very strong watch on divergence, all time frames. I hope this YouTube video has been helpful for you. I'm going to upload it now. It will be public, so members outside of my group can see this, everybody. I hope it's helpful. There's no charge, so enjoy, and as always, please trade safe. Bye-bye.